Joined by the king of Lethwei, Dave Leduc. Dave, always good to see you, mate. You're back. Very excited for this one. You're fighting in the US. We've been waiting for this for a long time. It's come about in a funny way. You know, the pandemic, we expected to see you fighting in WLC back in Asia. Sometimes you got to improvise, right?
Yeah, adapt or die.
That's it, man. So, how are the elbows? How's the head? You sharpening everything nicely. It's November 7th, Sparta main event rematch with Cyrus Washington. It's all
Yeah,
happening, mate.
I'm ready. I'm feeling good, and it's gonna happen very fast. It's in less than 2 weeks now. Everything is falling into place. People are excited. I get like DMs like crazy, and yeah, it's gonna be a banger.
It's interesting. It's going to be in a cage, and Sparta came out with their first event not so long ago. We've spoken about being in America for a while, and it's interesting that it happened, during this pandemic, and now it's kind of all systems go. Do you like the fact that it's in a cage? Does that excite you?
Yeah, actually, I've been training the entire pandemic in my home team in Canada, and we have a cage there. So I've been training with my boys, actually getting ready for some UFC fight nights in Las Vegas during the whole like when they had no crowds and everything. Still have no crowds, but so I've been like their main training partners for them, and now they're doing me the favor and doing the same for me. But I've been training the entire time in the cage, and I actually think it's going to be a massive difference in the close quarter fighting when you're inside the pocket, and if you're pinned to the cage, it's going to be a different game. Very excited to live it. Like as a fight fan, like I'm excited to see, but I'll be the one fighting, so I'm gonna be really excited to see the difference. Like cutting the ring is completely different than cutting the cage because you can just go around in circles for hours. So excited for that.
How do you feel about the relationship with Sparta? Tell me a little bit more about them. Like, how did this come about? Because you must have had
Yeah.
all sorts of opportunities. They're doing Letway in America right now, which is really good to see. So how did that kind of come about?
It's crazy, like in all the negative stuff there's always some positive. And I've been, we did an interview. It was like, oh, I'm itching for a fight, and now there was nowhere apart from Asia or maybe some places in Europe that were hosting legalized Lethwei. So I have to, lift my hat off to the Wyoming Combat Sport Commission. Brian Peterson, he's the one that literally legalized Lethwei, and I actually did not see it coming. I thought it's going to take another couple of years. No, I've been talking with the WLC to make it happen, and obviously we were like really excited for this. But man, it happened, and I have even more respect for the people of Wyoming. Like this is a big deal. Like forever, they're gonna be remembered as the state that had Lithway for the first time.
I think that's so cool. They were the first ones to do bare knuckle as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think BKFC started in Wyoming as well, and in Cheyenne, I think. So it's gonna be, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is Sparta is very, very flexible, very fluid, and and they made the adjustments for traditional Lithway rules, and so headbutts allowed, no gloves, and I'm gonna be a KO to win. That was the hardest one to make them pass because they have like judges ringside, cage side, and they're like, oh, we need to have a decision at the end. I'm like, well, I can't defend my traditional title with a scoring system. It's just, for that, I'm going to go with the WLC. But when I went this one, and especially having fought Cyrus in traditional rules in 2017, it made no sense for me to do the rematch in another different rule set. Like, because especially I told you off camera, I'm very pissed off of the way I handled myself during that fight. Meaning, like I was not controlling the ring. I was still like fairly new champ, and like I'm always evolving, and he kind of flew through my fingers in a way. I wish I would have ended it earlier. I would have finished him. He went to the doctor, twice, and used his timeout. I never used my timeouts in any of my fights, and fuck, I've been very, very, very pissed off and very critical of myself. I've been training ever since, even harder, and I knew this day was going to come. I didn't know when or why. When I signed with the WLC, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to defend this title for a little while, So the stars have aligned, and I got my wish to avenge this draw. Because even though a draw is fun for Burmese people, they like to see that. Like it sucks because I went on the other day on those Wikipedia, like fuck, it's a draw. Like I And I look at guys, like Sanchai or Buckhow guys, like they have a bunch of fights, and most of them are decision wins. I'm like, fuck you. You have most of your record is decision wins. While me, I have a lot of all my draws are domination. Like it would have been, it's all wins for myself. So it's just like it's even harder to get a win in Lethwei because especially in the traditional rules, you need two knockouts. Like you need to. A win in Lethwei is way more is more heavy because fuck, like this was a win for me, but it's going to be remembered the first fight as a draw. But trust me, second fight is going to be a clear finish. I'm leaving everything in the cage. There's no way. There's one guy's going to leave on a stretcher. I don't give a shit.
So your traditional rules belt is on the line. They're putting an inaugural
Yeah.
title on the line as well, right? So just to clarify exactly what is on the table here.
Right. So it's so the belt, the golden belt. There's for people that don't know, in Lethwei, there's one title, a world championship for each weight division in traditional Lethwei. So and traditionally the open weight champion is the highest one because they never had they just stopped it at 80 kilogram and up. So that's why Tuntu Min was the champ before me. Fought guys way heavier than him, and same as me, I fought guys 10 kilos heavier than me, and it doesn't matter. You have to accept according to the law of Lethwei or the rules of the champ. If you say no to a challenge, you will get stripped like right away. And I remember, and when I fought into Min, I spoke about it in one of my posts. I said I was doing a seminar tour. I was actually in Norway when I was doing a Lethwei seminar, and I got a letter, official letter from the Myanmar Traditional Lethwei Federation in Burma, in Myanmar, and they said like we have approved the date for the trilogy fight against Tuntumin and I'm like, well, I'm doing a seminar and I'm not, and like it's in a month. I'm like, well, I'm fighting. Well, he said, if you don't accept, because they wanted him to have another chance at redeeming himself. If you don't accept, we're going to strip you. That was black on white on the official letter stamped from the federation. I'm like, okay. So I came back to Dubai at the time. I lived in Dubai. I started training. I had literally 3 weeks of running and in Dubai and just making sure. And yeah, I defended the belt against him. But just to tell you, like, you have to accept, otherwise you get stripped. And so traditional Lethwei rules is a bit different. It's KO to win. So if the last man standing, and yeah, so I got yeah, basically that's what's on the line. And they added like another the other belt, the Sparta Lethwei, basically because they're the first one to allow it to make it legal. And I actually believe that this American Lethwei belt, this World Championship in Sparta is going to be like the standard for Lethwei in America because they're the first one to do it. But yeah, basically there's two titles on the line, and we're fighting for the traditional Lethwei belt and this Sparta World Championship in Lethwei, the first one on American soil.
Is it a nice belt? Have you seen it?
I just seen a 3D rendering. It looks pretty cool. They have a knight, a bit similar to Bellator style. They have a very cool logo, and it's gonna be golden. I said put as much bling as you can.
Awesome, man. Look forward to seeing that one. The traditional rules. Did you?
Yeah.
Was it you wanting to defend your open weight belt just so you could kind of get that resolution? Has it been you pushing this, or from day one were they like, we want to go traditional rules?
No, actually, I've been told that they were actually in talks. They were actually the commission in talks with the WLC to legalize Lethwei. So if the WLC was coming, they had the choice to go either to Wyoming or to another place. So we kind of continued where they left it off. But yeah, we my team and everybody had to make sure that it's KO to win because otherwise there would not be a world championship at stake. So this one that was the only way possible to put this title on the line. Like, and again, I've been ever since I've signed with WLC. It's been almost like a year and a half now. A lot of things happened, but I've been in the back of my mind. I was like, "Fuck." The game. When I signed with WLC, I vacated. I relinquished my Lithuanian Japan belt and other tournaments in Myanmar, but I kept my traditional Lethwei title. For when I'm going to be able to defend it. So it had to be that. It had to be that. Otherwise, it was not going to happen. Yeah.
You've spoken about how much you've improved since you guys last fought, you and Cyrus. Have you kept an eye on him? He's a veteran of the game. He's fought in so many disciplines. He's had a lot of fights.
Yeah.
What do you respect about his skill set? What is he bringing to the table in your eyes?
Okay. Well, he his most recent fight, I think he fought, if I'm not mistaken, he fought for the belt at Thai fight against Tunuing, the Thai fight champion at 80 kilogram, and it was a competitive fight. But you know the game in Thai fight. If you don't knock him out, you're gonna lose on points. So it was a decision. So I respect Sark because I saw his record very hard to knock out, and I know for myself, I fought him. I landed some big knees in the clinch. I cut him open in the face, still standing. I cut him open in the first round, and that's why I think he was avoiding further engagement because he was bleeding, but he still finished the fight. So I think he's very tough. He's on over 120 fights. He's never been. I think it's a few. You can count on a hand. So I have to really work extra hard to knock him out. He fought Cosmo Alexander to a decision. It could have been either way. So it's just a very hard guy to finish. So that's my main focus. And but to answer your question, I think I respected him too much in the first fight. I was when I was first, and I never said that to anyone. When I got married, I beat him to Min in 2016. The promoter pulled me out of my room, a hotel room, and he said, "Dave, no, who do you want to fight next fight?" I was like, "I don't present me anybody. I'm willing to fight anybody." He's like, "Perfect. What do you think about Cyrus Washington?" I'm like, "Okay," and I said yes, but in my head, I have to admit, I just saw the spinning kick over and over again. I knew how hard it was to fight Tuntum Min, and I saw how styles makes fights. So he had I think he had Tuntum Min's number. Even dropped him in the second fight with a spinning elbow. Yeah, and Tuntum Min ended up winning. But fuck, to do that to Tuntum Min is a big achievement. And I was like, okay, he's a real. When the promoter told me that, I said he's a real threat to my title. Like he's a real threat for me. And then I ended up fighting in Japan right away. But then they were saying, okay, when you're going to go back to Myanmar, you're going to fight Cyrus. I'm like, okay, let's bring it on. So when we fought, I had only 20 fights. He had over 100. I was really, I think, too respectful for him. I was really, I guess I could say afraid. I was really cautious when I went inside. Is he gonna spin? Is he spinning elbow? Is he gonna spinning attack? Is he gonna, because then he goes high, then he goes low to the stomach. So and he wins a lot on spinning kicks to the liver and the body. So I'm like, okay. So I was very cautious and too cautious. So I don't know if I can say that in a good way, but I'm not going to respect him as much this time. I have to fight him with no respect. I have to fight him for the kill. I have to fight him for a clear finish because that's what I want. Otherwise, history is going to repeat itself, and I don't want that. I don't want another draw. I want a KO. I'm going to leave everything in that cage.
Yeah, do you think there's an element of kind of taking out the frustration of, because I know how annoyed you are that you are at your peak right now. You're the king of this sport, and you've been kept on the shelf by things outside of your control. So do you feel like kind of a bit pent up, that you're kind of ready to
No
unleash
idea.
a bit of that?
You have no idea. I'm frustrated here in Canada right now. I'm voicing myself in French to protect what's left of our freedom in Canada. I'm pissed off at the government. I'm pissed off at the measures to combat this pandemic, which I think they're asinine. I think they're too pushed. So I'm very pissed off right now. But I'm focusing on this. But yeah, I think I'm gonna let a lot of frustration go in the cage for sure. Good point. Good point. Yeah, I've been keeping a lot of shit inside of me, and I'm a very calm guy, but I think I channel my energy in the ring. That's what saved my life when I was a teenager. Like when I got kicked out of the family house, if it wasn't for martial art, I would probably not be here, or I'd be in jail. So, as much as me, I'm not a troublemaker, but yeah, martial art is something that saved me. So I need to let the fumes go in the ring. I need to let it go in the ring. So it's 2 weeks. I'm counting the fucking days.
Well, now the door's open. Now we've found a way. We've found a way to get you back in action. Now that is there, now that Sparta is there, and
Yeah.
WRC will always be there in Asia, right?
Yeah.
Are you now going to get to compete a lot more regularly? I know you don't. You don't intend to I don't know how many more fights you intend to have. You're quite smart with how often you fight, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
you're a little bit
very
selective
good
about,
question.
you know.
I think you have a good point here, but I want to defend my WC title as soon as we can, as soon as the travel restrictions in Myanmar are lifted. We're counting the days again for that. But yeah, definitely, this is a big like opening of the doors. USA is a massive market. I've always been dreaming to fight there, and never fight on US soil yet. So it's gonna be big. But yeah, I think it opens up a lot of doors for me, my team, other Lethwei fighters that want to test themselves. Because again, yeah, you can fight kickboxing, you can fight Muay Thai, you can fight anything, but Lethwei is the ultimate striking art, and that's why a lot of guys are transitioning into Lethwei to test themselves. You cannot say you're the best striker in the world if you haven't fought without gloves, with headbutts, with all the limbs allowed, or KO to win. This is the epitome of striking. So this is a lot of people are coming into Lethwei. Even right now, they're organizing a amateur world championship in Poland next year, which is going to be fucking cool. Because like again, the sport is getting organized. So that's when great things happen. Now there's going to be amateur team, national amateur Lethwei team in many countries around the world: Iceland, Italy, USA, Canada. So think about that. Now we're going to see like, okay, Lethwei being trained in MMA gyms, in Lethwei gyms and Muay Thai gyms, and it's the beginning of something magical, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's such an ancient sport, but in a
Yeah,
way, everything as far as the Western world is concerned is super new, and you're a
yeah,
spearhead for marketing this sport, right? You're helping to push this sport,
literally.
and I think the reality is people on the street in a lot of places will still not have heard of it, right? So
I mean,
so
that's
it's
what pissed
still
me off.
the
To,
genesis.
sorry to cut you off, Danny. I just want to say you remind me something. If it was, it's a freaking coincidence that it happened like that. If it wasn't for the way Myanmar was treated to the world, we would have Lethwei gyms around the world right now, and that's a fact. If back in the days we'd had choice, well, what do we train? What do we open? Well, Lethwei is booming, so let's train it. But the fact Myanmar was closed up to the world, Muay Thai had and Thailand had they were able to export their sport, and that's saddening to me because Lethwei is the ancestor of all these sports. So I'm changing this. I'm changing this. We spoke about having affiliate gyms around the world. It's happening. It's in the works right now. Yeah, it really saddens me that Myanmar doesn't get the credit it deserves for inventing such a brutal sport.
It's cool because I mean, I speak to a lot of high profile fighters, and I always try and ask them what they think of the sport. I think I've asked McGregor. It's always nice to speak to Onglar about it because Onglar loves this sport. It's in his blood.
Of course.
He wants to fight it one day, and I think you hang around with people like Bas Rutten and Mark Coleman. What do these guys think of the sport? These UFC fighters. It's interesting when you see people's face when you ask them about it because some people are like, that's just not, it can't fathom it. Other people, they light up and they're like, oh yeah, one day, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, all of them. Mark is a new friend. We talk on Instagram, and he comments on most of my posts. Bass is a great friend. Kung Lee as well. They all we trained Lethwei together. We did headbutts on the pad with Bass, and they love it. They actually were in the talks to organize like a documentary for Netflix with Bass, or a lot of things happening. And actually, Frank Shamrock messaged me. And it's happening, but yeah, I think the best way I was told that by one fighter a couple years ago. He said, like, out of the entire population, we have like, let's say 5% like martial art, train martial art. Out of those, maybe 1% actually go on to do amateur or pro fighting, and out in that 1%, you have like UFC or Bellator or ONE FC, like the elite of fighting, and uh, you can count on a couple fingers the guys that want and have like want to do it. I know Matt Brown said that he wants to do it one day as well. We spoke on Twitter. Like a lot of guys, even like I said on Joe Rogan podcast, Diego Sanchez is like, I want to do it. I don't think it's a good idea right now. But like yeah, there's a lot of excitement for this. I think it's cool to have all that those limbs allowed. So they're excited about that. All the Brazilians too. A lot of the guys are messaging me like, "Fuck, that's like Valetudo back in the days," and with emphasis on striking, right? That's what I like about that. It's like everything allowed, and there's this honor of like the brotherhood of Lethwei. I was explained that by one of an old Lethwei expert. He said, well, when a guy falls, we let him up, we help him, and then we continue. So it's like we're gonna fight until you put the knee on the canvas when we're gonna go down. So it's just like, really, let's see what's in your heart, let's see what you have inside of you. So I really like that aspect. And but yes, I also love the ground aspect and everything. But all those guys, they're loving it, and they a lot of things are happening.
Yeah, it's very pure. I think it's very pure. I think, and
Yeah, it's
new
free
people
form.
come. Yeah, when people come to it, they do tend to fall in love with this sport. I think there's been a few landmark moments as well in recent years. Talked about this kind of new genesis of bringing Lethwei to the Western world. I mean, what you're doing, what WLC are doing, you going on Joe Rogan, I think was quite a big moment, right? And the fact that Joe loves the sport and is intrigued by it, I think he's mentioned it
But to be
several
fair,
times now.
in order to go there, you have to also make a statement prior to go there, right? It's not so. It was talked about so many times, countless amount of times prior for getting invited. So yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, from there, it also opened up a lot of doors. I see a lot of my videos on YouTube are like, "Oh, Joe brought me here." I'm like, good. If it brought good things, new eyes, amazing. But yeah, it's like here because of Joe. So thank you, Joe, for that, for this extra eyesights on the sport. But yeah, they've been talking about it for a long time. I remember, I think Eddie Bravo was like, "Yeah, it's like from Cambodia." I'm like, guys, it's not from
Oh no,
Cambodia, you know. And yeah, I think the other day he had Hannibal,
Barres.
yeah, he was on the show, and he spoke about it, and he made me laugh because he's like. Joe was talking about how Lethwei is, and Hannibal was like, "Oh, I just want to train. I just want it soft." He's like, "Yeah, but you can use your head." He's like, "Oh my god, that's too brutal." He just wanted to do Muay Thai,
Yeah.
and again, it's gonna be always for select people, select few that want this extra edge and this extra confidence, because you might need your head in and headbutts in street fight scenarios. So it's my wife, she's fragile, she's a small woman. You don't want her, again, I'm always with her, there's no way it could happen, but you don't want her to you don't want a woman to wrestle with a man. You want to strike efficiently, fast. Headbutts is the best weapon.
Are you going to go down to Texas and train some headbutts with Joe? Are you going to get back on the show one day, do you think?
Well, actually, I don't. Yeah, probably it's going to happen. But Robin is supposed to go. Robin Black, who's going to commentate the fight, is supposed to go on the podcast prior to the fight, which it's gonna bring even more eyes. Right now, I just spoke with the CEO of Sparta, and the numbers are really really exciting. And I wanted to talk to you about this. We're aiming at around 200,000 pay-per-view buys. It's because it's a very, again, low price, affordable price, $25 for the fight. For the event, there's like 18 fights: kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, and obviously la pièce de résistance à la fin, at the end. But it's I just wanted to make sure that I tell you that, because if we do hit these numbers, which I think we probably going to surpass, it's supposed to give over $1 million to me and Cyrus in pay-per-view shares, right? And I wanted to tell people, like, I had a change of mentality in the past couple of months with the whole pandemic. I changed my philosophy. I become a bit like minimalist, like very only what I need. I think greed is a thing that kills society and kills happiness, because like my goal was always to have on my vision board was always to get like a Rolls Royce, and I looked it up, it's like a couple $1,000s per month. And I'm like, okay, now that I can get it, after living what I lived in Myanmar, in orphanage, spending time with people that are less fortunate, it really opened my eyes. And I'm like, how the fuck, I can swear, Andy?
Yeah, it's too late, mate. Yeah, of course,
Huh?
mate. Yeah, of
Okay.
course. It's also
Okay.
like the fifth
How
time.
yeah, how can I drive my car that's worth $200,000? How can I drive it when there's people living in under the poverty level, and it's like I would feel the biggest hypocrite. So I really changed my values on this, and until recently, I know if you look on my Instagram, I posted a picture with a stack of money like 100K. Like I feel so stupid because this is not happiness. This is me perpetrating the Instagram like bullshit of like. So I really decided, and I feel like I can tell you that I studied a lot of like happiness, because that's the ultimate goal for everybody. Everybody wants
Yeah.
to be loved. Everybody, like, if you have like money here and happiness here at the beginning, you're happy. If you have nothing, like as soon as you better make more money, you're happy. It goes very fast, like
Yeah.
until statistically it goes to about $86,000 per year, but let's say 100K a year. Once you reach that level, you make more money, but your happiness doesn't grow with it. So, and this I'm living it, and it's true. You not once all your needs are met, you have your house, you have your you don't need $1 trillion. And I I decided, because I'm opening, I have a lot of businesses right now, and I'm opening a lot of it. I decided to put all this money, the excess of what I need to live comfortably and travel, and my wife not working. The excess of it is going to go to changing the world. Like I want to. This this money of this fight is going to go to opening schools in Myanmar. I have something that also like a clinic for women that are have that don't give birth in nice conditions. So yeah, so we're gonna, like, people like are gonna be part of this together, because we're gonna be able to help together. So they're basically part of this with me, and I don't know what Cyrus is gonna do with the money. I hope it's for good, but that's my mission. I wanna really use that to make a statement to the country that changed my life through the sport, and the country and again after that I want to do even more. So that's what I want to tell you. Like, a really a big change of philosophy in my mind. I don't find, I think I find it a bit, to be honest. I respect, for example, guys that even have more wealth than me, but I found it's a loophole, and that it doesn't bring you more happiness. Like, you can talk about Lamborghini yachts or bullshit. It doesn't bring you more happiness. Actually, it puts you even deeper into that never ending, because there's always going to be somebody with a bigger house, always going to be somebody with more money, always going to be somebody with a bigger boat. It doesn't matter. Let's be happy with content and stop this over consumerism. So I don't buy new clothes. This is my I get I put my WC shirt on, I put my stuff on. My wife she buys all this stuff, but like, I'm really um we can say minimalist. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's very cool, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting hearing it from you as well, because I think you're living it. So
And it's very hard to leave that, because it's like what's expected of you. Once you reach a certain amount of fame or income, whatever, you're expected to flaunt that money online. You're supposed to show stack of money. I actually think Floyd Mayweather is one of the most unhappy guy right now. Like, it's not a healthy trait of character to this is not life. We're supposed to. I really, and what made me realize that is when you're giving, you get more happiness than just like when we went to Myanmar, if I may, we went to chocolate and Kinder surprises to the orphanage people and orphanage kids, and they were very they were sleeping on the floor. They had nothing, and the water was coming out up almost. It was a raining season, and it was really sad. And then we came in with chocolate, tried to change their mind a little bit, and we give a Kinder surprise to one little girl. She has nothing, and this orphanage is kids that have HIV. So they're not even like 5 years old yet, and they're already doomed from society. They have HIV, so it's just like poor kids. So we go there, we give them chocolate, and this girl, my wife gives her the last Kinder surprise, and she sees that my wife doesn't have anything left in her hands, so she's like, oh, she has nothing. So she takes her Kinder surprise and she said, do you want it? She had nothing, and she was gonna give it. I have goosebumps. Like, she was gonna give her Kinder surprise to my wife. That's how pure they are. And how can I drive my Rolls Royce after I sing this? It's the most
yeah.
hypocritical thing ever. Anyway, that's my point of view. I don't expect everybody to live like that, but I think the more we do this, the more happy we're going to be in as a civilization.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing you say it, man. Yeah,
I
there's a
know, because I've been flaunting shit, and again, I promise you won't see that anymore.
if you guys do want to get one of those t-shirts, because I do, you get go on to Leduc that way. But
Yeah,
we got to just drum it home one more time. So it's
yeah,
$25. Get
yeah,
the pay-per-view on the Sparta website.
yeah,
Main event: Leduc versus Washington 2.
yeah,
Bit of history.
yeah. It's really we've been going back and forth on Twitter after the fight. He said that he can beat me. He said that he wasn't at his best. Okay, perfect. Like I want you at his. I want you at your best. I want you at your strong. He said he's feeling good. Perfect. Let's come. I want a. I want a. I don't want to. I want a big fight. I want somebody that's going to come in and go for a brawl, and that's what I expect of him. But yeah, he's been campaigning for the rematch ever since, saying that he studied me, saying that he knows how to beat me because he has more experience than me. Perfect, but I don't see how what is he going to bring to the table for me that I haven't seen. I was extremely respectful in the first fight, very cautious of what he can what attack is going to go. So if he's gonna if he goes, I don't know how to say, like, if he thinks he's gonna because I'm more pressure. Perfect. Come in, do your stuff, do your spinning attack. I'm ready. I'm conditioning myself. Fucking ready. Like I could fight right now, and like I'm telling you, I could fucking fight right now. I just went for a run right now. Cardio's off the roof. I'm ready for whatever how many rounds is gonna last. I don't want it to last 5 rounds because my Sifu always told me you're not paid for the amount of rounds you fight. You're paid for just stepping in the cage or the ring. So if it finished in 1 round, good. If it finished in five, and there's a clause in the contract for both of us. If it goes to 5 rounds, and that's what we made sure to add it. If it goes to 5 rounds, there's a clause that we can have 2 extra rounds, so 7 rounds of bare knuckle Lethwei in Wyoming, and that's actually something I've been asking in Myanmar to the my old promoters, not WLC, but the old one. I was asking them, look, like if it goes to a draw, can we do an extra round? It's called Lethwei Extreme. Cyrus actually fought Tutu for 7 rounds in 2000 something in 2015, I believe. He fought him to Lethwei Extreme, which is 5 rounds with 2 extra rounds if it goes to a draw, and he's still is Tutu still obviously he drawed. So yeah, he did a good fight against him, and yeah, I don't want to use that extra 7 rounds, but if it's there, But again, that's to make sure that the fans they see because again, I actually believe in our first fight in 2017. If I had an extra round because I was getting warmed up, I was feeling good at the last fifth round. I was getting really excited, and can we say that excited? I was getting very in French, like I was really getting ready. But fuck, if I had that extra round there, we wouldn't have a rematch. So this is a clear. We're fighting for a legacy. We're fighting for my legacy. He wants to take away what's mine. He wants to take away my income. He wants to take away my status. He wants to humiliate me in front of my wife, who's going to be cage side. He wants to humiliate me in front of everybody watching around the world. All around the world is going to be watching because everybody's excited to have the first Lethwei on pay-per-view, the first Lethwei World Championship on U.S. soil. He wants to hurt me. What pisses me off is that when we're fighting, when we're getting ready, somebody is training to beat you. So right now, Cyrus is in Texas, I'm in Canada, and he's training every day with the idea that he can hurt me, with the idea that he's going to cut me. He wants to give me a concussion. He wants to hurt me. He wants to. So this, if it doesn't piss you off as a fighter or as a champion, you're not gonna stay a champion very long. I'm extremely pissed off, and again, oh yeah, you think you can beat me? Fucking bring it on. Let's go. We're gonna see it in 2 weeks. Let's go.
Fascinating insight into that mentality, man. Game time. Everybody tune in. I'll be tuning in from Malaysia. Dave Leduc, you're the man. Good luck, mate.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Andy.